Thank you for clicking on this video. Welcome back, friends. It was raining that night, thin, cold drops slicing through the silence. I parked down the street, watching the lights of my house blaze like a celebration of betrayal. Laughter and music I didn't recognize spilled out from the open windows. And there, huddled at the locked gate, sat my father. Soaked and shivering, his old hands wrapped around his knees, his eyes glazed with a hurt I will never forget. He looked up when I approached. "Son," his voice trembled, raw with a confusion that shattered me. "Why won't they let me in?" That one question, so soft and innocent, burned through the last of my delusions like acid. My past quest had been for a perfect, seamless life. When my mother died, I promised her I would care for him. So when my wife suggested he move in, I saw it as a blessing. I thought she understood. Her parents were constant visitors, their presence initially feeling like added support. I mistook their meddling for care. But care doesn't come with conditions. Care doesn't whisper poison. It started subtly. My father, once a vibrant presence at the dinner table, began retreating to the back porch, staring into the garden for hours. When I asked if he was okay, he gave me a weak smile and said, "I think your wife's family doesn't like old people around." I brushed it off, a foolish mistake I will always regret. The truth found me the day I came home early. The house was full of their laughter, my wife, her parents, her cousins. Then I heard my father's door click shut, a sound of defeat. Moments later, my mother-in-law's voice cut through the hall. Finally, he got the hint. "That man smells like the grave. Your husband is blind to it, but we aren't." The silence that followed was broken by my wife's whisper, a blade aimed straight at my soul. "He'll be gone soon. I'll make sure of it." I stood there, fists clenched, heart hammering against my ribs. But a new, cold clarity washed over me. A confrontation then would have changed nothing. They would have lied, gaslit me, and tightened their circle. So I waited. I became a ghost in my own home, smiling and nodding while I meticulously documented their cruelty. Hidden recorders captured every sneer, every slight. While they plotted, I was on a new, silent quest, not for a perfect life, but for justice. I refinanced the house that was solely in my name. I moved assets, changed beneficiaries, and created an ironclad trust in my father's name. I was rerouting their future out from under them, brick by silent brick. The night of the party was their final, arrogant mistake. My father called me, his voice shaking. "They told me there's no room for me tonight, said the guests won't be comfortable." He gave a soft, broken laugh. I left the office and found him at the locked gate, sitting in the rain while they celebrated inside, drinking from my glasses and dancing on the floors I built for our future. It was over. I took my father to a warm hotel suite. "You'll sleep here tonight," I told him. "Tomorrow, things change." The next morning, I walked into the wreckage of the party. The air stank of wine and arrogance. My in-laws were strewn across the couches. My wife looked up, startled. "You're home early," she murmured. "Not home," I said, my voice dangerously quiet. "Just visiting." I placed a thick folder on the table. Inside is everything, their words, their greed, their true faces. Her father snorted. "You think this will scare us?" I smiled then, a cold, final thing. "No, I think the eviction notice taped to the front door will." They laughed until my lawyer walked in. The color drained from their faces as he explained the reality I had engineered. The house, the assets, it all belonged to the trust. My father's trust. They had 30 minutes to leave. The begging and screaming started then. My wife cried, promised to change, called me a monster. But I didn't raise my voice. I just watched them scramble, finally seeing the parasites they were. When they were gone, the silence they left behind was heavy, but it was clean. It was mine. I called my father. "Come home," I told him. When he arrived, I pressed the keys into his hand. He looked at me, confused, tears welling in his eyes. "This is your home, Dad," I said, my own voice thick. "Always was, always will be." He tried to speak, but the words caught in his throat. And in that silence, I saw it, the years of humiliation finally fading, replaced by a quiet, hard-won peace. My past quest for a false ideal was over. My new one to protect the man who gave me everything had just begun.
Thanks for watching PastQuest. If you enjoyed the journey into history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories from the past. See you in the next quest.